Repossessed, the Exorcist spoof, an uproarious laugh-a-minute comedy that stands the test of time. And none of that is true. Well, the part about it being an Exorcist spoof is true, but the rest of it, I had a hard time saying it because it's an absolute lie. Yeah, this movie is, in a word, awful. And even Leslie Nielsen, who stars in the film, couldn't do much to save it. And he's always been terrific in anything he stars in. And even this, he does a pretty good job, but the movie is so bad, you don't even really care about his performance. The movie is supposed to be a sight gag-driven comedy in the same vein as Top Secret, the Naked Gun movies, or the Airplane movies, and it does that by definition only, but the delivery is awful. Now, there were a very few gags that got a giggle out of me, but not much, and for the most part, this movie is very awkward to watch. It's sort of like watching a comedian bomb. Yeah, that's basically how you can sum up this movie. It's a big bomb shitfest, and this is coming from the guy who willingly watched Troll 2 twice in his lifetime, which is saying something. Now, Troll 2 is bad, but it's a different kind of bad compared to this, and that's a little hard to explain, so I'm not going to try. Well, gosh, I'll try a little bit. Troll 2 is endearingly bad, and Repossessed is obnoxiously bad. Yeah, I guess that's another good way to describe this movie. It's obnoxious, and it's not funny even though it tries to be, and that's the most obnoxiously awkward part about this movie, is it tries to be funny, but it isn't funny. It just seems like throughout the entire movie, there's setups for jokes that you're constantly waiting for the payoff for, and it's so poorly done, you get the payoff, but don't even realize it. Yeah, it's just one laughless punchline after another, and it really doesn't stop. It is back to back to back to back flat jokes all the way. And before you think I'm being too hard on this movie, just don't. Trust me, I am viewing this through a very generous lens. The movie is about a woman played by Linda Blair who portrays a character who gets possessed by the devil again after being possessed by the devil when she was a kid. Hence the movie's title, Repossessed, which I think is very clever, and I don't have a problem with that, by the way. And the role, though similar to the role she played in The Exorcist, though be it an older version, is not a reprisal, and luckily, this movie has nothing to do with The Exorcist. It's simply a spoof of The Exorcist, and I don't have a problem with that either. I like the concept of an Exorcist spoof, just not done the way this was done. Linda Blair is tolerable in this, though not as her demon-possessed version of her character, because that is the worst part of the movie. Which is ironic and unfortunate considering that's what the movie's about. Though the makeup effects are rather well done, everything else about that character is the drizzling shits. Yeah, she speaks in this voice that's like just so irritating and annoying, and trust me, nothing she has to say is worth anything. The voice is so grating and like nails on a chalkboard, and nothing she has to say is funny, even though it's supposed to be. The character is just annoying crap, and it makes this movie even more difficult to watch. And speaking of that, and as if this movie could not get any more annoying, there's a part where one of the main characters raps in it. For absolutely no reason, he raps. And I gotta tell you, I almost turned the movie off when this happened. Now, you may be wondering, why am I being so hard on this movie? Gosh, Captain Adam actually seems like he's angry. Well, I am! I hadn't seen this since I was 11, and I didn't remember too much about it, but I remember enjoying it. So I decided to watch it again, and it just proved to me that I had no taste as a kid. Yeah, upon watching this again for the first time in a long time, I find it hard to believe that I enjoyed this as a kid. But I did, and I'm so ashamed of myself. This movie is not one of those endearing movies that are so bad it's good. This movie is so bad it's just plain annoying, and it certainly does not deserve the cult classic status it has. Now, a good question for you to ask is, how come, in the past, in previous episodes, did Captain Adam defend Suburban Commando and Super Mario Bros. The movie, two movies that are well known for being pretty damn bad, and yet he is being so critical of Repossessed? Well, that's a great question, a just question, and it's one I'm going to answer. The difference between those two movies and Repossessed is that those two movies, however bad they may be, do have a rather long list of redeemable traits. I'm not going to get into all that right now, just know that I believe that those two movies have qualities that outweigh the bad, and therefore I believe that people judge them far too harshly. Repossessed is a movie that has absolutely no redeemable traits or qualities, and I believe that people don't judge it harshly enough. It's just a very poorly done movie, and certainly not of the same caliber as The Naked Gun, even though it was sort of supposed to be that way. Is it fair to compare? Absolutely not. But when you have Leslie Nielsen in a sight gag-driven spoof comedy, you really have no choice but to compare it to The Naked Gun. And that is indeed a mistake, but this movie set itself up for its own disappointment. But maybe it's me, maybe it's my fault, maybe I expected far too much from this movie, but that's the point. When you promote a film, they want you to expect a lot from the movie. That's your part as the viewer, that's your part of the bargain. Their part of the bargain is giving you a good film. And maybe not even necessarily a good film, but at least a funny one, especially when that film is supposed to be a comedy. I would say that this movie is a pile of shit, but comparing it to a pile of shit would be a little inaccurate, because a pile of shit is eventually broken down by multiple organisms, composting and therefore enriching the soil and bettering the earth. This movie adds nothing to anything, meaning that a pile of shit is more useful than this film. It was unleashed onto the world, apparently as a punishment from God, September 14th, 1990, with a limited theatrical release. And you know what that means. Well, that can mean a number of things, but in this case, it means that hardly any theater wanted to carry this piece of trash, which also means that the film's distributor, 7 Arts, a subsidiary of New Line Cinema, didn't want to waste too much time, money, or resources promoting a film that no theater wanted to show. So really, how did this all go so bad? What happened? Who is the production company responsible for this film? Okay, here's where I'm going to be a little bit more even-keeled with my critique of this film. The production isn't all that bad. It is actually rather clean in its application, but the delivery is just terrible. And you know what they say? When it comes to jokes about pizza, it's all in the delivery. And in all honesty, the production company really has nothing to do with that. So who was it? Well, you might be surprised to know that the production company was Carol Co. Pictures, the same production company responsible for Terminator 2. It's very strange to me that these two films are in a roundabout way related. And it's even more strange when you consider that this company was working on both films at the same time. Anyways, back to Repossessed's initial release. As I said, it had a limited theatrical release in September of 1990. And this film was totally slated to be a direct-to-video release. But if you can get a theatrical release out of it, no matter how pointless the endeavor may seem, go for it. And this film would indeed be released on VHS, not only that same year, but also within that same month. Oh man, they were totally ready for this puppy to go right to video. Okay, so who was the home video distributor responsible for this mess? Who was the low-down, mangy dog that dared put this trash on videotape? Was it some low-rent, fly-by-night, no-name VHS distributor that's probably wrapped up in child trafficking? No, it was Live Home Video. Yes, Live Home Video released Repossessed on VHS, the Live Home Video, the VHS distributor that would eventually gain cult-like status amongst certain throngs of VHS collectors. They were mainly known for releasing good, or at least halfway decent movies on VHS, namely action films, so it's a little odd they chose this. But personally, I think they might have lost a bet. It does seem a little weird, and it's a tad bit disappointing that Live Home Video released this. And Live Home Video is not simply just some VHS distributor that popped up in the 1990s, as there were thousands that did. No, Live Home Video has a rather storied history throughout the course of VHS. They were a subsidiary company under the wings of Artisan Entertainment. They got their start in home video distribution in 1983 as USA Home Video. And USA Home Video would be famous for being poignant pioneers of VHS packaging, as they were a big proponent of what is known as the VHS Big Box, a very lovely yet wasteful packaging design that came out of what I call the romantic era of VHS. I'd call it the romantic period, but there's nothing romantic about a period. Ayo! What? And in 1984, with the rising popularity of VHS, they decided to open up another home video wing with International Video Entertainment Incorporated, or IVE as it was commonly known. So the subsidiary had its own subsidiary, and this strange mingling would continue until 1986, wherein USA Home Video would envelop into International Video Entertainment Incorporated, and IVE would become its own thing. And then in 1988, the subsidiary that was once a subsidiary of a subsidiary decided to have its own subsidiary with Live Entertainment. For 2 years, this partnership would continue until 1990, when the two would merge into one, and Live Home Video was born. In 1998, Artisan Entertainment decided to drop its subsidiary and become its own home video distributor, which is why a lot of Live Home Video's releases were re-released in 1998 and 1999 under the Artisan label. And everything would be hunky-dory until 2004, when Artisan Entertainment folded and was bought out by Lionsgate Entertainment. And what exactly does all of that have to do with the Repossessed VHS release? Well, nothing. So this 1990 Live Home Video VHS release of Repossessed would be the only North American VHS release, to no one's surprise, least of all mine. Yet no one else wanted to buy the distribution rights for this piece of filth, and it kind of seems like Live Home Video regretted their choice and was hoping everybody forgot about it, because they would never re-release it, and even Artisan never re-released it. Everybody was just hoping it would go away. But it didn't, and here we are. Now, if you like this movie, that's fine. I really don't care. I personally cannot stand it. But I would urge you to watch it again and then see how you feel. To say that this movie does not hold up would be a tad bit inaccurate, because that would mean that there was a time when this movie did hold up, if it was even relevant when it was first released. And I just don't think it was. It was a total swing and a miss. Now, like I said, I don't have a problem with an Exorcist spoof. It's a decent concept, an original concept. It was just performed terribly. The production was good, but everything else about it is just awful. I mean, it's essentially a dog turd in a tux. Now, since this is an awful movie, and it seems like it's trendy to love awful movies, and I know it's some kind of cult classic, even though it doesn't deserve to be, does that mean the VHS is worth a lot of money? I mean, not really. It's all relative. I think any more than a penny would be too much for this trash. It goes for around 10 to 20 bucks, or if you like, I could come over to your house and shit on your face for free, because it's pretty much the same thing and it'll save you money. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little video. Be sure to hit subscribe and take care out there, and I'll see you next time only on Captain Adam's VHS Pirate Ship.